Hey there, Dave Hunt here, owner of GameMasters Guild, and today I have even more Wizkids Warlock tiles to show you. They just keep pumping these things out, and I just can't hardly keep up because I'm so busy with everything else. But today, you're going to get a 4-in-1. Today, I'm going to quickly take a look at the kitchen, which retails at $49.99. I'm going to take a look at the merchants, which also, look at that, retails at $49.99. Let's see what else we got here. Our third one is going to be the Town Watch, which also, say it with me, retails for $49.99. I sense a theme. And the last one, which I think a lot of people might really be interested in, is the Tavern for $49.99. And you can already see there's a lot of cool pieces. So let's open each of these up real quick and take a quicker look, or closer look, I should say, at everything in these 4 great expansions. Let's check them out. Okay, so here's the first one. This is the kitchen expansion for the Warlock tile line, which is basically a bunch of miniatures to replicate a medieval kitchen. Now I'm going to break them out. We're going to get an even closer look at these babies. Okay, so here we go in the kitchen. Looks like we got a lot of great pieces. We got a couple of shelves, and you can put a ton of stuff on these shelves because I already have a lot of other stuff that I could put on these shelves, and you could actually repurpose this for a dungeon or perhaps a wizard's study. There's lots of cool stuff you can do with shelves. Here we got like a large water reservoir here for washing dishes. And what's really cool about this is you can, if you want to, you can put in a piece that comes with it to simulate water. And there's a little cutout in there, so if you need to get it out, you can get a toothpick and pop it out. Hopefully it'll just pop out here when there we go. It just pops right out. And then if I want to, I can put dishes in there. So it looks like, well, dishes are being washed. So that's a really cool, neat little thing. And I like little add-ons like that. Just that little extra bit of detail is really kind of cool. So here we got a large basin. It almost looks like a baby would fit in it. But actually, no, it is for a large bit of water, I presume. So that's super cool right there, or you could make it be whatever you want it to be. Here we have a little wash station right here where this bowl is already full of water. You just come by and you quick wash your hands, or perhaps it's a bowl of stew or something else waiting to be served. But honestly, it's probably one of those little hand wash basins since you're in the kitchen. And you could easily use this with the Tavern set. Here we got a small bucket for getting water. This one doesn't have anything in it though. Let's see, here we have, this is cool. This is like a little bench seat right here. And what's neat about the bench seat is it actually opens up so you can throw some stuff in there. Or you could even use it just as a random chest in a dungeon or maybe in someone's room. Here we have another shelf with plenty of room in here to put other stuff if you want to, like perhaps a little bucket. And then let's take a closer look, and it looks like we have a finished turkey ready to go. All right, so we also have a pitcher of water, and we have 4 mugs of ale. And of course you can move all these around. They're not permanently attached or nothing like that. So that's pretty cool. What else do we have here? We have an outhouse, and this outhouse is actually 2 pieces, so it's actually a 2-for-1 if you wanted to. So this is what the outhouse looks like. There is no poop accessory, but I'm sure with some green stuff and some brown paint, you could do it. Here's a little outhouse. The door opens just like that. You could use it standalone, or you could actually you could use it like a little storage shed if you wanted to. So I thought that was kind of neat that they made the bathroom portion kind of optional. So if you wanted to use it as a storage shed, you could instead of using this. That's pretty cool. Here we have an accessory for all the pots and pans with the little bit of wood storage in there. It just slips in, slips out. Really cool. And here is actually where you can actually do some cooking. You got like a little shield over here. You got a place where you can warm up food, and you can throw the little fire right in there just like that. And I think that's pretty cool. You got a little actual fire in the fireplace. It's optional. You can take it out. I like that. And of course, last but not least, we have a dedicated serving girl, which is really cool. And I like that a lot. And she's pretty well detailed. And she's actually serving some brew. So pretty nice. Pretty nice indeed. Definitely a very nice setup for any respectable inn or tavern. A nice addition, especially with the new coming out soon. They're going to be doing the yawning portal, so this would be kind of cool to add to that. Well, let's take a look at the other ones real quick. And since we're talking about the tavern and it's right behind us, let's go ahead and break it out and see what's inside. All right, let's take a look at the tavern. All right, there is a lot of cool looking pieces here in the tavern. Looks like got a couple of beds, a bear rug, a counter. It's pretty extensive. Let's go ahead and crack this open and see what it looks like. Okay, so here's the tavern setup. Here we've got the bartender, potentially the tavern owner himself. We've got a large keg right here on the counter, and the counter is a large 3 pieces. And I tell you, this is one of the best looking taverns that I think I've seen. These pieces are nice and big. It looks well polished. This is a much nicer tavern, I think, than most players are probably used to going to. Here we've got some small little bottles, some liquor bottles ready to go. Of course, in a pinch, you can use them as potion bottles. A little silver container there, pretty cool. Here we've got a little, this is an actual, these are really small, and I'm worried about even losing these. I don't know if I can get a good focus on it. This is actually supposed to be a little tankard. You can just make it out, a little itty bitty tankard. Let's see if I can get a fix on some of these other things here. We've got, whoops, here's our bottles. We'll get a close-up of the bottles again for you. There we go, little bottles right there, kind of cool looking. And here we've got a couple of stools with a table, and we've got some couple of different breads there that players can have at their table. We have a large bearskin rug. We have another keg on this little holder right here. Oops. And it's a 2-piece, and try not to drop both pieces. But there we go, a little tankard right there. Pretty neat looking. It's got the spigot on there and everything, ready to pour. And we'll just put that back right there. Oh, there it is. There we go. I was holding it right. There we go. Okay. So, whoops. So a pretty nice setup. And of course, that's not all. I think it's funny they got the rooster right there. So I guess every morning you're going to wake up to the sound of the rooster, right? All right. So let's move over here, and we can see we've got a couple of large double beds. These are pretty nice solid pieces there. Boy, that's pretty authentic looking. That's pretty cool. I like it. Here we have a cabinet, and this cabinet here opens up right here. The top and the bottom opens up. There we go. That opens up right there. The bottom opens up as well. You really got to have some fingernails or a little toothpick or something, and not to worry if it pops out of the hinge. You just pop it right back in. No worries, as they say. There we go. Pop it back in right there again. Okay, there we go. And of course, you definitely could put the smaller miniatures like the books or the bottles in here to kind of deck it out and give it a little more detail. And you could put this in the tavern itself, behind the counter, or you could put this in the player's room. And then we have a fireplace, and you could have this in the tavern itself or actually in one of the players' rooms with fire or without fire. All you got to do is put the fire in there if you want it. And what's nice about getting these little extra fun pieces like this is you could double it as a fire at a campsite, which is really cool. I like that. Boy, this fireplace is a big heavy piece. That's really neat looking. That's going to be really cool. All right. So that's the look at the tavern, and again, a lot of cool pieces. Love the bearskin rug. What a nice touch. And the rooster. Cool stuff, cool stuff. Now, let's take a look at, what are we going to do? I don't know. Let's take a look at over here. What keeps the tavern supplied? Let's look at the merchants. So let's take a look at that one next. Here are the merchants, and looks pretty interesting to me. However, I'm curious, why is there an executioner in the middle of the merchant's box? Let's open it up and find out. Okay, so we got all the merchants laid out. We got some really interesting pieces here, and definitely some figures, some sculpts I haven't seen before, except for maybe the executioner. I think I've seen him in a couple different sculpts, or not a couple different sculpts, but a couple different sets. But that's okay. He's pretty cool. All right, so I think maybe why the executioner is here is because, well, you could use this old tree stump as a chopping block, and of course anyone who gets caught stealing in a strict enough town could lose their head. Now That probably explains why we have a couple of unsavory looking characters, one with a crossbow and one with a dagger over here in the corner. So that's kind of a nice little shady element. They're not all strictly merchants. So you've got potential. You could use these guys as adventurers or thieves. Now, we're talking about the executioner chopping someone's head off. Maybe that's why they have this cool stump right here, so they can lop someone's head off right here. But what's neat about this stump is you can take the top off, and there's a space inside. Dude, that's super cool. And they've got a little chest with some bags that looks like gold or something like that, and a little dagger. So you can actually take this and you can drop it inside the tree, boop, like that. And you can put the lid on the tree and hide it. Dude, this is cool. And it does actually kind of line up with everything, with all the grooves on the tree. So you could actually hide that in the tree. How neat is that? That is really cool. And then when you're ready, your players find it. Oh, look what you find inside. You find all these goodies. All right, that is pretty cool, and I was not expecting that. I really like that. Okay, so we'll move that over here. Now we have basically a horse trough. I've seen this before in a couple different sets. You could turn it upside down and make it into something else if you really needed to. But also this is convenient as perhaps maybe you do have a merchant who's trying to sell you something there. And this just makes a nice little quick impromptu stand. Or perhaps maybe a monk who wants to anoint you in his religion. Perhaps you could have some of their holy water there, and they could anoint you, etc., so on and so forth. And the monk's a pretty nice looking figure. The only thing I don't terribly like about these figures is they don't have any kind of base, and I don't like that. They should have included some bases, which I'm definitely not seeing any bases in the packaging. But bases are pretty easy to find. Worst case scenario, you use like a nickel, and you glue it to the bottom, you paint it black, you're good. So let's see what else we got here. We have this guy is really cool. This is a leather worker, and you actually have a spot where he's actually working the hides right there. And this piece is a little pain in the butt. It's got a big hide stretched across it, but the legs on it are really kind of lackluster. So you really got to kind of bend it in place. If it was me and this was mine, I would just glue it to a base or something so it would stand up a little better. But this gal right here, she is working leather, and that's pretty cool. I like that. Pretty neat. You usually don't see someone who's a character who's working hides and stuff as an actual miniature. That's a really neat piece. Okay, I'm going to move this off to the side here. And see, this thing just doesn't want to stand up very well. But that's minor. You can fix that. And even if you just get a little careful with it, you can make it work. Or you could wedge something up behind there, maybe a toothpick or something to kind of help keep the legs straight. Glue it in place. That's not too bad. All right. Next we have is a stand, and from all our other sets like taverns and inns, we always get these little bottles and baubles you can put on here. Not a problem. Really nice stand. Let's see here. We've got this guy. Look, see that tanning thing just doesn't want to stand up. Of course, that time I knocked it. All right. So this guy, what do we got here? This guy, man, he looks like Frankenstein's assistant, but he also looks like he could be a butcher, but he could be up to no good. I kind of like these ambiguous characters. You can do a little bit of everything with these guys. Here we've got a merchant with a sword, or possibly a potential buyer. Like if he's at a table and he's buying swords, this could be one of the customers. This guy right here, man, this guy, he's cool looking. There's a lot of story with this guy. He looks like he could be a wizard. He could be a noble from a far-off land. I mean, I like this guy. I'd be even tempted to use him as my character. So, pretty nice. I like that. And he could just be he could just flat out be a merchant. Very, very easily. And then who else we got left here? And then we got this gal right here. She's obviously a fisher of some type. So, you probably find her working on the docks. Definitely pretty cool. She got a spear. You could even technically use her as a, low-level adventurer. Just because, maybe she's got a spear, maybe this is how one of the adventurers starts out. And then over time, she becomes, a great fighter later on. Who else we got here? Oh, now, we didn't see her earlier. I showed her, but I really didn't talk about her. And here she is right here. She kind of fits in like with the Vistani from Curse of Strahd. She's just kind of got that look to her. Yeah, let's see if I can get a better focus on her. Yeah, she's pretty nice looking. That's pretty cool. Looks like she's selling potions or other pilfers or perfume. There's no telling what she's selling. Pretty cool. I like her. She looks pretty good. And then last but not least, we have a merchant stand. You don't see too many merchant stands. This is kind of cool. It's got a small shelf for a couple odds and ends. It's all one piece, which is kind of nice. I like that. And you set it down there and you're ready to go. Pretty cool. Let's let's put her in that stand right here, and boom, we're good to go. She's selling stuff. There are so much stories here. It just drives me crazy. Look at, oh, of course, the executioner. Of course, ready to lop off someone's head. You know, this is a slightly different sculpt, I think. That's pretty cool. And here we have, again, we have a thief. And this guy, man, I'm surprised these don't have regular bases. I'm really disappointed with that. But then again, you know, don't not buy it just because it doesn't have bases. These guys are really cool. Look at this guy. He's rocking an eye patch. He's got some daggers. Man, this guy, there's some serious story to him, and he could easily be a player. And this guy, I think I've seen the sculpt before, but that's okay. It's still cool to get this guy. He's got definitely a serious crossbow, and you can see the crossbow has a crank right there on the back of it. Let's see if we get a slightly better focus on this guy. Yeah, he seems to want to elude me, so I'll just keep him a little further back here. So, oh, there we go. So you can see the little crank on the side of the crossbow, pretty neat looking. He's got a quiver full of bolts. I like that. And what a cool looking guy. And he could easily be used as a player. Actually, all these guys, just about all these people, they can be used as players. So that's my look at the merchants. Now let's move on and take a look at what's right behind here, and that's the Town Watch. Okay, so here's the Town Watch. There's quite a bit of guys in here, quite a bit of interesting items, some armor and whatnot. Let's go ahead and crack this open and see what we got. All right, so here's the Town Watch. Now, not super cohesive because it's kind of Town Watch and kind of a couple things that you would find in a tavern, and then you've got actually like a blacksmith, which I would have put him in the merchant's box. But that's okay because you get a lot of cool miniatures with this. So here we got a couple blacksmiths. Looks like we got a weazened old blacksmith and his apprentice, and they're definitely in the midst of working on things. So pretty cool looking pieces. I like that you get all these little hammer pieces. Look, looks like you get 4 different little hammers. You get a couple of these cool looking pliers to hang on to stuff. You get one of these chains, you get an anvil, you get just a stump to work on, so you can throw the anvil on top of that, and then maybe they're working on a length of chain, or they're just hammering something else. Pretty neat. Now, this stuff in the back here takes a little more explanation. Now, of course, this is just a suit of armor and a shield, all ready to go, kind of like that. And you could use this just in a dungeon or in a town and village setting. Maybe it's sitting in the tavern, maybe it's the owner's when he was an adventurer, or possibly, again, it's just something maybe the players find, maybe even a magical suit of armor and a shield they find in a dungeon. Now here we've got a bellows where the blacksmith would actually use this handle to blow the air into the fireplace here where he's actually doing his smithy work. Now this thing is really cool. This has been in an unpainted version that they had a while back, and I can't remember the name of it exactly. I think the Vikings box might have had one of these, but I know there was another box that had this too. And this, I'm not going to pull this tab out, but if you pull this piece out on the bottom, it grants you access. Well, actually, I guess you could just pull it straight out the top anyways. But you can completely take this thing apart if you want to, and there are only 3 pegs and 3 holes right there that hold it in. And this right here, if you pull this out, and this thing's going to glow. I really don't want to do it now because what's going to happen is I'm going to pull that out, and then someone's not going to be able to, might drain the battery. Although, you know, I might be able to actually, I could probably put that back in. Well, anyways, well, you know what? Let's just do it. All right. It's okay, I'm the owner. So, look, that lights up right there, and then with another click, let's see what else it does. Usually with more than one click, these things will light up differently. See, it's nice and kind of pulsating. Ooh, that's cool looking. And let's put it actually in here so you can kind of see. So there's the pulsating coals, like he's actually working on it. Oh, that's neat looking. Yeah. All right, so let's see what else we got here. Let's click it again. It's another little pulsating, a little bit different. That's cool looking. Let's see what else we got here. Different type of pulsating. Looks like it's got a couple different versions of the pulsating, and this is probably going to turn off. Yep, and then we have a steady on. So what a cool piece. This is worth its weight in gold. Players love seeing this kind of stuff. I love putting it out on the board, and I just love to play with it. This stuff is great. Super, super cool. I really like the addition of the blacksmith. I'm not exactly sure why it's in the Town Watch box, but it itself is pretty cool. I gotta admit, that's pretty neat. Let's see if we can put this back in here. Kind of preserve the battery for the person who comes and actually picks it up, and I think it's not going to be a problem. There we go. Cool. Awesome. All right, we'll just put that back together. Now, something in this box, let's see here. I guess it kind of makes sense for the Town Watch. Not this, but it's still a cool piece to have. But here we got a couple of street performers, which I guess in a way that makes sense for the Town Watch. Because sometimes street performers could be shady and up to no good. So these two characters, especially since they're dressed similarly, one's holding a lantern, he's got a sword at the ready, and this lady right here, she's got some studded or some soft leather armor on, she's got a sword, she's ready to go. She looks like she's in charge. They both look like they're on a mission. These two performers, I would actually expect this in a tavern set, honestly. And again, look how easy they fall over. I don't know why they don't put bases in these things. But again, you can fix that relatively easy. If you don't want to spare the nickels and you want actual bases, well, go down to your FLGS or come down here and, you know, we've got bases for you. And then we've got, last but not least, we've got some ruffians here, some people who look like they're up to no good. Daggers, cloaks, they're moving in kind of low and fast, this big old thug guy. He's a pretty cool guy. But honestly, again, any of these people here, he could be a bard, rogue, more rogues, even a fighter maybe, or barbarian, fighter, rogue, ranger. I mean, again, almost any of these guys could end up being really, really, really good miniatures just for general gameplay. All right, and so that's my look at the Town Watch. All right, so that's my look at the kitchen, the tavern, the Town Watch, and the merchants. And I hope you found this video extraordinarily informative. And if you haven't already checked out the Warlock tiles by Wizkids, you need to watch my other videos. And you can click right around here somewhere because they're going to appear shortly. You're definitely going to want to check them out because the whole Warlock tile line is amazing. Well, thanks for stopping by and watching this episode. And as always, I want you to stay safe, play great games, and I'll see you real soon.